Hey, everybody. Thanks for listening. I wanted to hop on real quick and let you know that I am now accepting sponsors. I was hesitant to do this at first because I wanted the sponsors and the products to really associate with the brand and the podcast, and I wanted it to align with what I'm doing. But I've decided to open up for sponsorship, and there's a couple of different options. You can do a single sponsorship or you can do a longer term. So let me know if that is anything that anybody might want to do. Hit me up on my website, livelifewithlauren.com, where you can find me on social media. Thanks. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Go With Your Gut podcast. If you are listening to the podcast or if you are watching YouTube, please hit subscribe so that you always know when something new is coming out, or you just always are updated on what's going on the YouTube channel or on the podcast. But today we are talking about boundaries, and we hear a lot about boundaries, right? Because it's, hey, if you're telling people yes, then you're also saying no to other things, which is completely true. And if you are a people pleaser, then you'd probably say, yeah, I have issues with that. I've had issues with that. And I think it's a large reason why, you get to the end of your day, or you get to the end of a month or a year or whatever it is, and you're like, I have absolutely no idea what I did this week. I don't have any idea what I did today. But either way, I'm overwhelmed, I'm consumed, I'm stressed, and I am not getting where I want to get. And I have learned from having those experiences myself that can be a very big boundary issue. But again, we are talking about saying yes and no to things and people, but that's not all we're talking about, because I think a lot of times, that being this instance being one of them, is when we tend to say, it's not my fault. I needed to go help this person. Or we try to blame our lack of boundary settings on somebody or something else, because it's like, well, I had to do this. I had to be here. And yes, it's easier said than done, because if you have, no matter what your job looks like, or no matter what you do, there are some things that you just have to do. And sometimes you have to put down what you want to do in order to get something else done. That is reality. That is life. And it is what it is. But do you have a set schedule for yourself that you can mostly adhere to? Like, when are you gonna take breaks? When are you going to make yourself eat lunch so that you don't get to the end of the day and wonder why you're hangry, and all of a sudden it's because you're like, oh yeah, because I haven't eaten anything, because I've just been plugged in. That's not hard to do, especially when it's a day where you got lots of fires, lots of things coming, your phone's blowing up with text calls, emails, all those things. And you're like, yes, I'm getting all this stuff done. I feel productive, or, I'm taking care of things. But then you get to the end of the day and you're like, well, I didn't get to do this. I didn't get to do that. I needed to run that errand. And all of a sudden you're like, well, I'm exhausted. I'm done. It's time to go to bed. And that just continues to happen. So boundaries, how do you set them? And what are maybe some boundaries that you don't even consider boundaries? Because yes, you need to have boundaries with, well, let's face it, like everybody in your life, including ourselves. And I think that one's the hardest part, because then we have to take more ownership, right? Because if we're dealing with somebody else, we can always say, well, they didn't do this, this didn't work out, my schedule had to change. We can blame it on external things. But when it's something that we want, when it's something that we're trying to do, when it is something that we are responsible, and we're like, okay, well, I don't know why this didn't happen. I don't know why I didn't get this done. When it is because you have a lack of boundaries with yourself. And again, I've had a lot of issues with this because I'm like, if you are somebody who is a high achiever, overachiever, however you want to word that, you find such gratification in being like, I got all these things done. That checklist got done, which you probably have 4 checklists, right? You made all the calls, you got the appointments set, you sent out a couple different things, some correspondence, and you called your best friend and had a 30-minute conversation, and it's all good. And you feel accomplished because you got all that done. But then you look at, the short-term goals, the long-term goals, other things that you needed to get done, maybe for yourself, maybe for your family, maybe for a different organization, whatever it is. And you look at it, you look at that list, you look at your schedule, and you're like, well, I literally don't have any time in the day to do any of these. Well, I would ask you to reevaluate your day, reevaluate your schedule, and figure out some ways to say, okay, it is time for you to get up, get out of your desk, and don't let this meeting run long. Whatever it is that you have to do, because it is those personal boundaries of, I have to get up, I have to walk around, I need to change my physical location, meaning walk up and away from your desk or wherever it is that you like to work. Maybe you have to go out, and maybe you have to go to a whole new building, or maybe you have a meeting and you're like, hey, I have to be out of here at this time instead of letting it run 30, 45 minutes over, because then those just throw the rest of your day off, right? Because if a meeting runs way over, yes, I agree. Sometimes you can't help it, and it is what it is, and you have to flex. That is life. That is reality. It is what it is. But if you have something on your phone set to say, hey, time to leave, wrap it up, you have this other thing to do, then it'll be, okay, I have my schedule. Here's where I need to be at this time, but then respect it. Respect your schedule enough to say, okay, I need to get up and leave, or schedule a time in your calendar to get these things done. And yeah, maybe you got to flex the time a little bit if you have that luxury, or else it might not happen, but actually adhere to that. So think about the alarms on your phone, the reminders on your phone, the notifications on your phone, because if you're anything like me, got a million of them, they go off all the time, and sooner or later they keep pinging your phone, and you just start ignoring them because that's all you get, and you end up being like, stop pinging me, and then you ignore them, and then all of a sudden you don't get up, you don't go make that phone call or schedule your appointment, or I don't know, maybe that's the time that you get to go connect with somebody, or you get to go call somebody that gives you just that brain break. Schedule a time and schedule a place and make a plan for yourself of, here's when I'm going to get this done, here's where I'm going to get this done, and then respect those boundaries with yourself. So yeah, if an alarm goes off, don't say, I'll do that later, I don't have time right now. Say, no, I'm going to get up and do it. Unless, you know what your priorities are. You know what is an actual fire versus what can wait for 30 minutes. And go take care of something. Go do something for you. Go get out, go for a walk, go, I don't know, jump around and do something, go dance, go make that grocery list, whatever it is that you have to do. Go send those emails and say, hey, been meaning to get back to you, or yes, I can do this, or no, I don't have the availability for that right now. When you can learn to respect your boundaries at work, at home, And whenever somebody asks you to do something, it's okay to either say no or, hey, I need to finish this thing right now. I'm in the middle of it. I need to get it done. Give me just a couple minutes, because a lot of times people will ask you to do something. And if you're like me, you're like, hey, let me go do that now because I want to make that person happy. I want them to know that I care about them and that I care about what they want. But at the same time, I also need to realize, okay, I also care about what I'm doing, and I need to get these other things done, because maybe it's something in business that's gonna move your needle forward. Um, that's gonna be a big meeting that you need to get done. Are you a procrastinator? There's a lot of people that are. Um, Engineer your schedule and your day to figure out how you can actually take actions and not procrastinate on the things that you need to get done. Now, some of you may be saying, well, Lauren, I work best last minute. I'm not one of those people. I don't work best last minute. All I do is sit there and think I need to get this done. And then if it's last minute, it does not end up being as good as it needs to be. Props to all of you who can actually do that, because that would stress me out. I am the opposite in the fact that I want to get it done early so that I know it's done. I know I did a quality job as I expect to, and then it's off my plate. But what do those boundaries look like in every aspect of your life? Even if you have no matter what your job looks like, be able to go take a break, get away from whatever you're doing and refresh yourself, whatever that means for you. We shouldn't get to the point that we can't get up to go watch something for 30 minutes, read a book for 30 minutes, go for a 30-minute jog. Maybe you have a gym. Maybe you want to go jump around and be productive for 30 minutes, whatever that looks like for you. But think about the fact and be very cognizant of your boundaries, and make sure that they cater to what you want, where you want to get, and what you want to accomplish, because it's the little steps that get you where you want. But if you're ending every day or every month and saying, I don't know what the heck I did today, I don't know what the heck I did this month, I feel like I was running around like a crazy person, but either way, I didn't get done the things that I wanted to get done. If that is you, look at your schedule and figure out how you can block out some time and respect those blocks to where you get a little bit done every day. And that way forward progress happens. Because if you don't allow yourself to take those tiny little incremental breaks during the day, then how are the things that you want to get done always going to get done? That will give you the time to actually be present with who you need to be present with, whether that be yourself, whether that be a group, whether that be at work, whether that be your family. No matter what that looks like, how can you engineer your day? Maybe you need to, dare I say, get up a little bit earlier, or actually take a lunch break, actually take a couple little incremental breaks in the middle of the day to get up and do what you want, or maybe set an hour, 30 minutes a day, whatever that looks like, to knock out that tiny little to-do list of make these 3 calls, send out a couple emails, and just knock it out. Turn off your ringer, do what you have to do, and knock it out. But I hate to say it, nobody else can do it for you. You have to be the one to start respecting your boundaries. Start telling people no, or not right now, or maybe let's schedule a time for this to where I can give you my full attention and we can actually be productive in this conversation, because there's a lot of people and we're kind of living in the age of you're in a meeting, but your brain is halfway in your phone and halfway on the here's all the things I need to do, because our time management skills seem to be lacking a little bit, because there's a little bit too much stimulation with all of the pings, notifications, emails. You got your phone, your computer, and your watch sitting right here, all telling you who needs to talk to you and telling you who is super excited about what and whatever else it's telling you. So use that intuition and be real with yourself and knowing, am I using my time to the best of my ability? Am I hindering myself in my lack of boundaries, or do I just need to change them around a little bit? Have your seasons of life changed and now your boundaries need to shift a little bit, maybe different times of day, or what does that look like for you? Because it's different for everybody. But listen to that gut and say, and be honest with yourself. Are you good at respecting your boundaries? Are you good at setting that time for yourself and for others, so that wherever you are, you can be, instead of just being halfway there and not feeling like you ever get anything done, but you're always running around going 1,000 miles an hour? Yes, we live in hustle culture. We live in now culture. We live in needed it yesterday society. Yes, we live in all of that, but we can still do the things that we want to do, get where we want to get, but you have to be responsible for yourself and you have to take that accountability in order to set those boundaries, whether it be with something, work, someone, family, coworkers, whatever it is, friends, or yourself, because that tends to be the kicker, because we don't have anybody to blame but ourselves if that's who we needed to enforce the boundaries with. Please let me know what you got out of this. Please let me know what boundaries you're learning to set, which ones maybe you need to work on a little bit, and tell me how it's going. Tell me how you are going with your gut and you're making those boundaries work for you. I want to hear about it. Leave them in the comments or leave them in the chat, wherever you can. And don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you next time.